Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I wanted to talk to you about hospitality in Islam. Because hospitality is something that we deal with on a daily basis. We meet people, we sit down with people, we have guests coming to us. And I've noticed a few things, and I came across this verse recently when I was teaching some of my students, and I thought, this is something I would really like to share with everybody. So in the Quran, in Surah Dhariyat, from verses 24 to verse 27 approximately, these verses, the actual topic regarding this is not of hospitality, or you can say it's part of hospitality, but rather the story is the angels are coming to Ibrahim alayhi salam, and they are talking to him about a certain news they want to deliver to him. Of course they come in human form, but that is not the discussion of this particular video. What I want you to talk about, what we can deduce and what we can take from these verses of the Quran in regards to hospitality. So we say, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he started, when these guests come to see Ibrahim alayhi salam, he says, إِذْ دَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ فَقَالُوا سَلَامًا قَالَ سَلَامٌ قَوْمٌ مُنْكَرُونَ. That when these particular angels, who Ibrahim alayhi salam at this time, they come in human form, they come to visit Ibrahim alayhi salam, they say فَقَالُوا سَلَامًا, and Ibrahim alayhi responds by saying سَلَامٌ. And this is very important when it comes to salam. Obviously we know in our religion, in Islam, we are always encouraged to reciprocate salam in the best of ways, in a better way. Either you reciprocate at the very least the way somebody has a salam to you, if not in a better way. And in the Arabic language, we have these nuances that are available that make us just a change in diacritics make all the difference. For example, فَقَالُوا سَلَامًا and salamun, it would show that salamun being in the nominative case, this particular salam is better than the salam being in the accusative state. And this is Ibrahim alayhi salam responding to the angels in a better form. But what I actually wanted to get to is how he actually deals with his guests. Here he says, the Quran says, فَرَاغَ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِ فَجَاءَ بِعِجْلٍ سَمِينٍ. Now this verse, I want to just make the main focal point of this video, is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said فَرَاغَ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِ فَجَاءَ بِعِجْلٍ سَمِينٍ, that he slipped away, or he went to his family and he bought a fat cow. Why is this? Why I found that the wording that is used here of great interest. See, the word faragha in Arabic doesn't necessarily mean somebody went away. Rather, it means it's from the word faragha, from the word raw, which means to slip away, to leave in a way, in an unnoticed manner almost. So the context here isn't that the guests have come to meet Ibrahim alayhi salam and he has sat them down and he has made a very big explanation as to he will be leaving the room and what would they like to eat. In fact, they say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ila ahlihi, that he slips away unnoticed, so that the angels or this particular guest in this particular context are getting comfortable. But Ibrahim alayhi salam has slipped away. So this is, I think personally, number one, it's very important that when we have guests to come visit us, we don't when we're looking to serve them or we're looking to go away, we don't need to make a big deal about it. We don't really need to say, look, what would you like? How would you like it? You just kind of slip away. فَرَاغَ إِلَى أَهْلِهِ. And what's very important here, فَجَاءَ بِعِجْلٍ سَمِينٍ. And this verse to me was very, very profound in the sense that Ibrahim alayhi salam didn't just go away to his family. He slipped away unnoticed in a very secretive manner. He went to his family and then he brought back a calf, Samin, fat, meaning obviously not necessarily meaning fat, but an animal with lots of meat on it. And again here I think it's very important to notice the wording here, where that he didn't just go and get any animal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that he went away, he slipped away, and he bought an animal with something that constituted of a lot more meat, i.e. an animal that was very healthy, that had a lot more meat. I think in this verse it tells the reader that when you go away from your guest and you bring them the food, bring them the very best that you have. The best that you can do at that moment of time, you bring that to them and then you put that in front of them and you present that food to them, right? And in another part in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the same story, but it's talking about roasted, right? So bi'ijlin hanid, right? So you can say that it was a roasted, and from another part of the Quran we can talk about the fact that this was a roasted lamb of the best quality. So I think that's very important to understand. So what we can learn from this is that when we have a guest coming to visit us, we don't need to make a big deal. When they come and sit down, we leave the room unnoticed, and we bring to the table what we have at the time. That's the very best. Whatever we have, whatever we would love, whatever we think that's the best thing available in our house, we present that to our guests. But now that we've presented this to the guests, how do we present the food to them? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then further goes on to say, فَقَرَّبَهُ إِلَيْهِمْ قَالَ أَلَا تَأْكُلُونَ. Now again, this is very beautiful. If you just sort of imagine this particular scene happening, is Ibrahim alayhi salam brings this food, and فَقَرَّبَهُ. It's like he kind of pushes it, kind of puts it in front of them. So he doesn't put it in a manner where the guest has to now stand up and making themselves feel uncomfortable and go get that particular food, but rather فَقَرَّبَهُ, i.e. he makes it closer to them so that they don't have to be uncomfortable and stand up. Again, this is something that we learn here, that once we get the food, we should put it in a way, present it in a way where it is the least amount of work and least amount of awkwardness for the particular guest. As we know, we've all been in that position. We've gone to somebody's house and everybody's looking at one another to see who's going to be that first person who's going to stand up and get the food. And as soon as the first person gets up, everybody gets up. But if obviously the awkwardness is taken out and the food is presented closer, you feel less awkward in trying to stand up. You would just eat the food. But then, to add to that, not only does he make it close, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, قَالَ أَلَا تَأْكُلُونَ, that Ibrahim alayhi salam, out of love, as he closes the food, he says to them, almost in a way, will you not eat? Like, for my sake, will you not just eat the food? Like, it doesn't say that, but أَلَا تَأْكُلُونَ, the tone that this is said in is like, قَالَ أَلَا تَأْكُلُونَ, will you not eat food? Like, I've put it closer, come, will you not eat for me? Will you not eat for my sake? And it's a very personal way of giving the food, right? It's a very personal way of giving the food. It kind of removes all the awkwardness, and it kind of just makes the person feel comfortable. And I think that's very important. So from here we already learn a few things. We learn that we shouldn't make a big deal of when the food is made. We should just go and bring the food. We bring the very best that we have, we present it, and we bring it closer to them, and then we offer them, why will you not eat the food? And in some cases, and we've all been in the situation, I think personally, sometimes you can even pick up the food yourself, and if you eat from that food as a host, again, it removes that uncomfortability. Just to stare at somebody can get a bit awkward. And sometimes I've been in a position, and I'm sure you've all been in a position where you're sitting in a very awkward position, but if somebody was to put their food, they ate from that food, you would feel very comfortable, very open about eating that food, because you wouldn't feel like somebody's watching you. And I think, obviously, the story is very wide. The story goes on to presenting a lot of other important stories, but this is where I wanted to stop and just kind of give this one verse. This is Surah Dhariyat, verses 24-27, and they talk about the hospitality of Ibrahim alayhi salam to these guests who are actually angels. But I think we can learn from this some very important lessons on how to deal with our guests. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.